All right. Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for being here today. Today's shiur should be the Ilu Nishmas, our dear friend Menachem ben Yisrael Yaakov, as well as my dear aunt Rivka Bas Gabriel Tzvi, and for Zaidi, Reb Shmuel ben Yosef Dov HaKohen, and B'schus l'refu Shalem Bekarav Mishalom ben Sarah Miriam Basara, and Yair Yeshia ben Chaya Atara. Today, we are starting Perek Vav, chapter 6 of Chovos HaLevavos. Now, yesterday when we finished off on the seventh way and how a person with Bitachon differs from a person who doesn't have Bitachon, the last part we ended, we asked the person who lacks Bitachon today that when are they going to start, focusing on Hashem and doing mitzvahs and things for Hashem and start accumulating wealth for Olam Haba. We finished off yesterday talking about how the person with Bitachon doesn't busy their day with accumulating wealth for this world, but rather their entire day is revolving around the idea that they need to accumulate the zechusim, the wealth, the 613M fund for Olam Haba. And the excuse that the person who lacks Bitachon today gave, he said, I'm going to start doing all those things when I have enough money to support myself, my wife, and my children. And that's where we ended off. And now, Perek Vav is going to focus on that concept, that person who says that I'm going to start focusing on Hashem when I have enough money and I'm comfortable enough and I know I can live up my years and my kids' years and maybe even my grandchildren's years. And the Perek Vav is focusing and calls it a solicitor of deposits. That this person is someone who is basically telling Hashem, I know Hashem that you want something from me, but the only way I'm going to do this is when you first pay me. So God, you first need to give me a deposit so I know that I'm comfortable for the rest of my life, and only then will I begin to start doing your will, your mitzvahs, all learning Torah and davening and all that stuff. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, the Perek Vav has seven different refutations, 7 arguments that we're going to make with this individual who lacks Bitachon today, who is a solicitor of this deposit. And Chovos HaLevavos starts like this: V'reisi laharos pnei zechlusam v'teusam b'das hazois. I see fit to describe the various facets of their foolishness, this person's mindset, and their error in maintaining this attitude. B'shiva inyonim agala b'hem gadol teusam. I will expose their great error in 7 ways. V'im yarchu divrenu, although our discussion may seem lengthy, it will be worthwhile. He says, sit tight, enjoy this ride, it's going to be worth your time. Bavu sheyesh bazeh min habiyush v'hatachachas l'bali hadeya hazois. Because only a detailed discussion of this problem will bring some shame and serve as criticism to this person, to these people with this attitude, so that they might improve their life and change their mind. Such people are part of a group that I call solicitors of security deposits. That's what the Shaar Habitachon calls them. In Yonam Bezek Inyan Hasoiche Shahu Moiche Ba'ashrei Lemi She'enim Aminoi. For their approach to Hashem's service, their approach to doing everything that Hashem wants us to do, to learn, to do mitzvahs, to daven, is like that of a merchant who sells on credit to someone that he does not trust. And what does that mean? And this merchant, he takes a security at the time of the sale, since he's afraid that the buyer might not be reliable, and that even if he is reliable, he might not be able to pay him later. Then maybe he is a trustworthy person, but who knows? Maybe he'll lose some money this week and he won't have enough money to pay me when the goods are ready after he's ordered it. Similarly, these people, they do not trust in Hashem. They do not trust that Hashem will be willing and able to supply their needs, and so they refuse to dedicate themselves to Hashem's service until when? Until He first gives them a security of the funds necessary to supply their desires. And that's what the solicitor of security deposits and what he's explaining over here. And he says over here in the Cliff Notes something very nice. He says, who are the people that advocate such an approach? The question over here is this chapter addressed to this person who is so far removed that he needs to make so much money that the only time he's going to start doing mitzvahs and start listening to the Torah and start doing Hashem's will is when he has so much money that he can support himself for his entire life and his children and maybe his great and grandchildren. Is that who we're talking about? He says no. He says every single person on this shiur, every person watching these videos, every single person that you know is a solicitor of a security deposit. Each one of us to a different degree. This chapter is going to focus on a very, very high level or an extreme case of someone who doesn't want to do anything until he has enough money put away so that he starts doing Hashem's will. But each one of us, don't fool yourself. You have in yourself sometimes in your day, in a month, in a year, that you will set aside God and because you need to do something that's going to support you for the long term. Well, maybe it's not for the long term. We have learned that a true Baal Bitachon doesn't worry about tomorrow. He only worries about the today. He only worries about the present. And so in reality, each one of us has this idea that we need to put away some money. Maybe it's the Dave Ramsey 6-month security fund and pay off your mortgage in 10 years. Or some of us, it might just be just enough to get by to next week. Many of us live paycheck to paycheck. Actually, as a matter of fact, 65% of the U.S. full-time working class lives paycheck to paycheck. And so, that's a real stat, by the way. And so, every single one of us has a little bit in them. We are a solicitor of a deposit. We might say, you know what, I'm going to skip mincha. You know why? Because I got to catch a flight. Why do you have to catch a flight? Because I have a meeting tomorrow morning somewhere. And that meeting is going to help me make money. We've come so far, and it's difficult. I'm not saying it's not. I myself am guilty of this, and it's a lot of work to do. But what I'm trying to bring out is that this whole Perek Vav is going to focus on this extreme case, but don't take it lightly. The extreme case that he brings out is because he wants to make a point. But each one of us has work to do as far as making sure that we don't, or we refrain as much as we can over time and work on ourselves to not be a solicitor of security deposits. And Be'ez Hashem, tomorrow we're going to get into the first of the 7 refutations, the first of the 7 arguments that we're going to have with this individual, we're going to have with ourselves as to how we get better and why the mindset is so convoluted and not in a spiritual way, not in a high level. The 7 refutations that he's going to make over here are going to be on an earthly level because this person obviously doesn't understand a God's level because he's not there yet. He's still working towards that. He's not a bad person, by the way. Just want to remember at this point. He's not a bad person. He's just not there yet. We all have work to do. And so tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem, we're going to get into that and we're going to talk about and how it relates to the high level and how it relates to each one of us individually. Thank you, everyone, for joining us all here today, and I love you all.